Hello guys, this is George from Quick Times Mechanic. Today we have a Toyota Tacoma 2008. So I throw shit to any manufacturer that does stupid shit. Okay, so get me here for a second. This and for all the Toyota lovers and fans, the Toyota are the best, and this and that and that shit. They got some nice shit. These 4-liter engines are good engines. I mean, they don't blow up or stuff like this. But okay, hear me out. This Toyota Tacoma, as you see, it probably don't have the best oil services, but it doesn't have sludge in it. Maybe they're just using a little shitty oil or something like that. But this truck had problems with correlation on sensors for timing. So that pinpoints to chains being stretched. So I had codes for that, and we discovered one of these actuators was bad, so we replaced both. So we replaced the whole thing. I mean, tensioners and everything in it. Okay, this truck only has about 120,000 miles. I think it's 119. So I mean, it's really no reason that a vehicle with those miles should have these problems. Okay. And the truck was rattling a little bit, start up, but the problem is it was having codes for correlation. I mean, the truck run almost perfect, but it had those codes. And since we live in a state that has strict emissions, he cannot register the truck unless he fixes the problem, right? So okay, hear me out. Here it is. Every manufacturer, man, they'll make their they'll get the money out of your pocket one way or another. Okay, Toyota engines and drivetrains they're decent. They're not as good as they used to be. But so they figure out how to get your money. So you see, I mean, it's just one chain. I mean, main chain and two little chains on the sides. The tensioners on the back. The two sprockets. The little sprockets here. That. The chain, and the gaskets they need, valve cover gaskets, the O-rings for the oil passages here and there, all of that. Okay, so it's about maybe 20-30 little parts. The most expensive stuff is this and that. Okay, just to do the chains and the sprockets, without counting the gaskets, you're looking about $1,100. I mean, that's quite a bit of money, right? People that used to do timing belts, you remember that to do a timing belt on a 3.4 roughly was about $1,600. Okay, so we're with about $1,300. I mean, about $1,100-$1,200 just for the chain. I mean, for all the moving parts on the chain, guides and all that stuff, right? So you're a little more money to do this, but what you don't count is to do this job is harder to do than a timing belt on a 3.4. Okay, so to do this job, we're gonna change this too, because I put the AutoZone solenoids and thinking that was a problem, but it was all mechanical related. With those two, the gaskets and all this stuff to do the timing chains job, you're looking at almost $2,400. Okay, so what's the advantage of this besides the 3.4? 3.4 I think is the last good engine Toyota have, V6. Okay, and I know your fanboys are gonna start rip me a new one. Oh yeah, this and that and that. But it's no reason for this engine to have less than 150,000 miles. You have to do this complexity of job for something that change is supposed to last a lot longer, right? The 3.4s had the problem with the valves cracking. Sometimes the intake or exhaust valves are cracked. But you can pull quite a bit of miles on those engines before you need something this expensive, right? So just my 2 cents for all you Toyota lovers. Oh yeah, I have my truck with 250,000 miles and I never have a problem. Blah 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 blah. But like I tell you, this truck's not been neglected. Like I tell you, the oil, maybe they don't use like, you know, really really good quality oil, but the truck doesn't have a sludge. So that shouldn't be an issue. The guys didn't have much wear on them. When you run shitty oil or you run long intervals of oil, the first things that are gonna go out when you have that crappy oil, you will have problems like that, or long intervals on oil that will wear out this. This wasn't a problem. The chain just stretched. So it's just shitty parts on, you know, these trucks. This guy paid for this truck. Kid you, I'm not shitting you. It's a 2008. It has, you know, it has a standard transmission. I that's kind of rare on these trucks. But he pays $16,000, man, for no weight. I mean, like I say, I rather bought two Colorados or two Nissan Frontiers for that much money than something like this, man. I'm not a fan of Toyota stuff. I was a fan of, you know, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s Toyota engines because they were good. The only bad thing on these Toyotas was the frame rusting out, but the engine transmissions, they were really good, bulletproof engines. I'm like, say that 3.4 had that problem with the intake valves and sometimes head gaskets, but for you to develop that problem, you had to be north of 250,000 miles. That was remarkable for those engines, you know. But these engines, I mean, the 4.0 engines, they're good engines. I mean, they got good internals and anything like that. But I tell you, all the companies, they figure out how to get your money out. And Toyota figure out, you know, if we do a little substandard parts here, since we are not going to be able to do making money on timing belts, we can make quite a bit more money on timing chains. So, you know, just my 2 cents. And, you know, all you farm boys, don't get pissed at me. I'm just talking truth. I'm not a, you know, one of them guys that sit on a chair on the desk and is telling you that this engine is good and this engines are bad. I actually work on this stuff, so I know what to look for and what not to look for. And I tell you, I'd rather buy two Toyotas, two Nissan or two Colorados than something like this, man. Alrighty, guys. See you next video. Bye.